guys have already heard our introduction, so we don't have to go through that. The one thing that I do want to say is the reason why Felicia and I are qualified to teach this and why you guys should care is because we actually work with Delta Airlines. We developed their Supplier Development Academy, and so suppliers that want to grow and scale their business, we developed an 18-month program to teach them. So we know both sides of it, the sides of what corporations want in potential suppliers, and then we know the entrepreneurship side. So we're not talking theory today. We have the bruises to prove the hard knock life of entrepreneurship.
So how many people want the keys, right? The keys are what matter. You can go back to that slide.
He got excited, y'all, so.
Here's what's important. Before reading about this session today, how many of you are familiar with the certification process? Like you've heard MBE, WBE, veteran-owned, great. And how many are already certified? Anybody already certified? Okay, great. So we're gonna go through the step-by-step process of really what's involved in it, because it's almost like a secret society. Like, how do you get in there? What do you have to be certified? And so we're gonna talk about the procurement process today, because procurement has changed over the years. Things have changed. They want you to be technology savvy when it comes to procurement, when it comes to bidding on the RFP process. And then we're gonna just decode some things that can sometimes seem overwhelming to you when you're going through the process. It is a reason why they want us to be certified. They want us to be certified because if, quote unquote, a Delta Airline says, yes, we want to do business with you, they are lending their name, their credibility to your business. And here's what they want to know: you're not going to fail. And so we're going to jump right in. Next slide, please.
So, legit. I know some of you guys in the room are not running your business legitly, but you don't have to raise your hand because I don't want to call you out. Just wink if it's your neighbor. Just wink, wink, wink. So we want to make sure that your business is legit. So L stands for you have to learn the certifying agency. As Felicia talked, there's so many out there. Some people think that they have to be certified with all of them, which is not necessarily the case. So we're going to walk you through who the certifying agencies are. So number one, you need to learn the certifying agencies. Number two, you have to establish strong business documents. No more running your business like Pookie now, okay? No more merging your business bank account with your personal business account. You're buying the baby shoes out the business account. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to make sure that we have strong business documents. G is you need to get your financial books in order.
Yes.
Some of y'all haven't filed taxes ever for your businesses. Some of y'all don't have QuickBooks or have a strong accounting system. She's like, preach, girl, preach, honey, preach. You're in my lane, you're in my lane. So we got to make sure you get your financial books in order. We have to institute a procurement strategy. That's simply telling you what is the procurement process that a corporation uses to buy products, or government, or even if you're working business to business where you're a subcontractor. Anybody in here a subcontractor for a larger corporation? Okay, anybody want to subcontract with a larger corporation?
All right. Everybody's hands.
Everybody. So we'll talk to you about that. And then T, we have to transform your value proposition. One thing that Felicia and I always talk about is a lot of times black businesses, we get a bad rap, especially black women. We can't work together. We're very competitive. But when you know your value proposition, you're not competing now with your other small businesses. You're learning how to collaborate.
Next slide.
So key number one is to learn the certifying agencies. But before we learn the certifying agencies, let's talk about the certification criteria. So MBE stands for Minority Business Enterprise. And the very first thing that you have to do is you have to be a member of a minority group. Looking around the room, I think everybody in here pretty much checks the box for minority group. So that simply means that you have to be at least 25% Asian, Indian, Asian Pacific, Black, Hispanic, or Native American. Everybody in here 25%?
All right, check.
Number two is your ownership. You have to own at least 51% of the business.
Yes.
Number three is you have to be a for-profit business. So if you're a not-for-profit business, you would not be going through the certification process. And number four, you have to be the sole person, or really the majority person, that is running the business. So you know how you have businesses that are a front, that have somebody that is the face of the business, but when you talk to them for 2 seconds, you know that they're not running the business?
Yeah.
So that is not the case when you're certified, because a lot of the certifying agencies, they do on-site visits, which simply means that they want to come and make sure that the person that says that they own the business is involved in the day-to-day operations.
Next slide. All right, there are benefits. I know what you just heard can seem overwhelming, but you want to take the time to prepare yourself to go through the process because there are benefits to being certified, not just with the corporation, but with the agency that you become a member of once you become a minority business enterprise. What we all want is access. You all said, I want the keys.
Keys, keys, keys.
The keys are the access. You're gonna have access to procurement professionals. Your first point of entry will probably be through Supplier Diversity. How many of you know about Supplier Diversity? Okay, half the crowd. So Supplier Diversity is in place to make sure that corporations are doing what they're supposed to do in regards to their dollar. How are they spending their dollar with other minority-owned businesses? Now, minority not just based on ethnicity. Minority can be woman-owned, LGBTQ. It can be based on disability. Veterans. So there are several categories that you could fall into outside of your ethnicity. The other thing is, we said just a few minutes ago, some of you have been in business 5 years or more. You are at a different place in your business, right? Well, some of you said, I'm just starting out. This is an opportunity for you all to connect. So if you're just starting out and you saw someone raise their hand and they've been in business more than 3 to 5 years, connect with them, because there could be some partnership opportunities there for you to subcontract. And when you get into the MBE, as far as joining the different, to get the certification and join the different organizations, you want to show up.
Yes.
You want to show up just like you did here today, because you never know who's going to be in the room that could change the trajectory of your business. So networking and strategic partnerships, and also the educational opportunities. So oftentimes they have a new MBE orientation that you can go and become a part of. You can learn what they're offering. They have a lot of what you call mentor-protege programs. So for instance, if you're in retail, they may pair you with Macy's, and Macy's may be your mentor. So there are various opportunities based on your industry and what your company offers that you can begin to seek the educational and training opportunities from within your certifying organization. Next slide.
One thing that I just want to point real quick is that a lot of people think that once they get certified that they're going to get a contract. That is not the case.
Yeah, your certification is not a golden ticket. It is simply to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
It is to give you the opportunity to present. Really, when you get your certification is when the work begins. So you need to be really clear about who you are, what you offer, and why they need you. So what you see here are the different certifying agency, NMSCC, the National Minority Supplier Diversity Council. You all heard from Ms. Trimble. She was here earlier today. Then you also have WeBank. WeBank is for your women-owned certifications. If you're looking to be a global business, which we all are looking to be global businesses, you would want to get certified through WeConnect. There's also another certifying agency, the U.S. Business Leadership Network, and the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. All are certifying agencies that corporations recognize and accept their certifications. Next slide. Now, if you're also looking to do government as well as corporate contracting, this is going to look really familiar to you, because this is what I want you to know. You have to take the time to be educated on both sides, because the language is different on both sides. There are acronyms on both sides. So we talked about, are you a WBE? Are you an MBE? Well, the same goes for the government side. So when you go through WeBank, which was the certifying agency I just spoke on, you also have the opportunity to be certified as a woman-owned small business. So if you know that you want both and that you do want to serve both on the corporate side as well as the government side, then it would be easier for you to just do the WeBank certification and knock out everything. Then you also have economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. You have the certified small disadvantaged business. And then where you're located. So there's a site, you can Google it, to see if your zip code is within a hub zone. Why is that important? When you are going after a contract, there are points that you receive, right, when they're going through and they're qualifying you. You want to have as many of these designations as you can possibly have. And then once you have grown the business, you may want to look at becoming an 8A certified company. This is a great place to be for any small business. It is accelerated growth, access to contracts. You don't have to compete a lot of times. So if you're looking for sole source, you don't want to have to deal with competing against other companies, then that's something you want to strive for on the government side.
So one thing that we want to say is that there is a difference between the government certification and the corporate certification. Some people will get certified in to be able to do work in a corporation, and they will ask, can they go and use that for a government? They're two different distinct certifications. A lot of the information that you're going to have to submit to both of them will be the same, but it's two distinct certifications. So the very first slide that we had, it was for corporations. Did you guys take your picture? Okay, and then the next slide was for government. So two distinct different ones. Everybody got it?
So what you see now is for veteran-owned companies. So I want to say this about the government certifications. Where you want to go is SBA.gov. You're going to be looking to register your business within SAM's registry. But one of the things that you want to get that is going to affect you on both sides is your DUNS number. That's D-U-N-S, all capital letters, DUNS number. So when you get your contract, they will tie your DUNS number to that contract for reporting purposes. And you're going to need that for both the corporate side and the government side.
Is everybody familiar with the DUNS number? So
Yes.
basically what happens is, you know how with your personal credit, you have the Equifax, you have the TransUnion. So for businesses and business credit, your DUNS number is going to help establish your credit. So it's kind of like how your Social Security number you can pull and get
Exactly.
personal credit. Your DUNS number, businesses and vendors, they can pull to get your business credit. So it's very, very important that if you're looking to get certified and if you're looking to work with corporate and government, that you really start building your business credit. How many of you guys know your business credit score? How many of y'all didn't even know that there was a business credit score?
And thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
Because that's what this whole session is about, is getting you in the know. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you show up.
Right.
And so we want to make sure you're prepared. Now, along with, based on ethnicity, being woman-owned, whether you could be Indian, that's a whole nother conversation. But veteran-owned small business and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses are looked upon very favorably when it comes to contracting. So if you fall into any one of these categories, I would definitely push you to get that certification. It would do you well. And make sure that when you go through the process, there are going to be things like they're going to want to know your cage codes. You're going to have to pick NACES codes that describe what it is that you do. So take your time to really process before you get into the paperwork. Sometimes you fill out an application with a pencil before you pen it in, because you only have one time to get this right. All right, you don't want to have them to throw it out and then you have to appeal it and come back. So make sure that you familiarize yourself with everything that goes into the certification process. Next slide.
So I want to take a minute just to follow up what Felicia was saying. So a cage code and a NACES code. So the cage code simply is just assigned to your business, and it's a number so that when they go, when government wants to search for companies that do a certain business, then they'll go and they can search your cage code just to verify that you've been certified. A NACES code simply means it's a list of products or services that your company can provide, so you can actually go look at the NACES codes and to figure out which product or service identifies with what you provide, and so that's how government agencies will locate you. So if they have an RFP, they'll go into the SAM system and they'll look for NACES codes that match. Make sense?
And even Secretary of State is doing that too now. When you register your business through Secretary of State, it's important that you know that NACES code.
Right. And so we're kind of going at a very accelerated rate just to give you guys an overview. So don't get worried. Don't get concerned. This is to provide you an overview to kind of stretch your mind so that you can know what it is that you're looking for. And afterwards, we'd be more than happy to talk with you to kind of give you some more step-by-step details. Everybody follow me so far? Let me do a check-in. How we feeling?
All right. Very good.
How we feeling? Almost there. One last time. How we feeling? I just wanted to make sure y'all didn't get the itis after lunch. Make sure y'all stay here with me. Okay, so key number 2 is you want to establish strong documents. So here is a quick snapshot. Get your camera out, take your picture. And when you're doing certification, whether it's corporate or government, this is kind of a quick snapshot of what they're going to look for. The first thing that they're going to do is they're going to want to make sure that you say you are who you are. So that's going to be, of course, basic stuff. Birth certificate, driver's license, to basically declare your minority status. Number two, they're going to want to know that you're operating a business, not that you're just operating as yourself, but that you're a corporation, an LLC, or a partnership. That simply means that with the Secretary of State, you've taken the necessary steps to incorporate your business. Make sense? Now, the next step after you incorporate your business is you want to make sure that you have all of your business documents. How many of you guys have your articles of incorporation, your bylaws? How many of y'all thinking about getting your articles of incorporation and your bylaws? Did she say? Sounds like something I need to do, so I'm gonna take a picture and I'm gonna do it. So basically what happens is oftentimes people will incorporate, but they won't have their articles of incorporation, bylaws, operating agreements, et cetera. When you do go for certification, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have these documents. It's very easy. You can actually go online, you can research, and you can, there are bylaws templates out there where you can just go and change them for your particular business. But you wanna make sure you have these because they're gonna ask you for it in the certification process. Your business documents, you've got to have your business license. If you're working out of your home, you have to have a homeowner's deed. If it's a home office, you have to have a lease if it's a home office. So all of these foundational things. And you see we have in there your work history, your resume. They want to make sure that you're qualified and you have the experience to do the job that you're doing in your business. And you'll see AR report, equipment list, et cetera. So if you're not tracking your sales in an accounting software, then we have to start doing that because they're gonna wanna have a list. Now it depends on which certifying agency you go with. Some of them don't require as much information, and then some of them are gonna want everything on the list. So this is just kind of a compiled list of all of them. Your minutes meeting, a lot of you all might say, well, we don't have any meetings because it's just me. Am I gonna be mean with myself? Yes, you are.
Will.
Yes, you will. So when she's like, well, how am I gonna talk to myself, okay? So you're gonna have to have your minutes that talk about simply, these are the officers of the company. You may be president, secretary, vice president, treasurer. Your dog may be the secretary, what have you, but you're gonna have to have it listed. Stocks. Y'all might say, I'm not a publicly traded company. Why do I have stocks? Even if it's just you with the stocks, you're gonna have to have some stocks issued, and you'll have to show that you actually purchased the stocks. It could be you purchased it for 1 cent, but when they're going through certification, they wanna have it.
Let me ask this one question real quick. How many of you have a corporate booklet for your business?
You know the little leather binder that has like the corporate seal in it?
Everything in it has a seal, stock, ledger. Okay, if you do not have one, you can go online and order the kit. You submit your articles of incorporation. They'll put the kit together for you. It'll come with the seal. It'll come with the stock certificates. You will declare how many shares you have because you will need that. Because what you'll have to do is issue the stock to yourself, or if anybody else is on there with you, then you'll have to submit that with your paperwork. So if you don't have it, you go on, get your corporate kit so that that can be in the mail and on the way to you.
All right, so just write that down. Google.
A corporate kit.
Google corporate
kit.
Mm-hmm. And what that simply is all of the information that is between the minutes meeting and the stocks, it gives you templates, and then you can actually just fill in the information. So it just makes it easy. And then the last thing, of course, which we talked about, which I really want to discuss, is the financials. Right? So if you are a business, if you're a C corporation, an LLC, you should be filing business tax returns. I see some of you are like, well, I'm not making any money, so what am I gonna file? Even if you're not making money and the business is not profitable, you still have to file the corporate tax returns.
Yes, you do.
Make sense? And then when you certify, if you haven't been in business long enough, what do you think they're gonna ask you for? Say that again, what you think they're gonna ask you for?
Personal.
And I see some of y'all like, I don't want them in my business like that. So if you want to certify, though, you're going to have to show either your business tax returns, and then if you don't have them, you're going to have to show your personal tax returns. Make sense? So make sure you get a picture of the slide. This is just a summary, but this is going to be a bulk of the information that they're going to ask for when they certify.
Yes. Next slide. All right. I'm going to break down getting your financial books in order. Next slide, please. Okay. If you do not have an accounting software, you're not going to have to go out and spend thousands of dollars. You can do a monthly deal with QuickBooks or Wave or any of the accounting software, but you're going to have it because remember we talked about stocks, we talked about cash flow statements, we talked about profit and loss, and the only way you're going to be able to report those things is through your accounting software. So you need to go online and sign up for that, and you want to know where your money's going. Yes. You no longer want to be in the dark about how you are making money. Because if you're in the dark, you can't do projections. You can't see where you're going. And if you're going to take the time to get the certification, this is a small investment that you need to make to be legit. So you're going to tie your business checking account to the software. So then it can begin to transfer that data into the accounting software. That's going to take care of your budgeting and your bookkeeping. Now, on those financial statements, here's one of the things I want you to understand, because this is going to talk about not only financial statements, but growth as well. You want to be careful how you put those journal entries into your accounting software. It has to make sense, because if you credit or debit the account, you got to credit the account, okay? So make sure, if you do not know, get a QuickBooks class, get in a class, educate. The whole thing about being a successful entrepreneur is that you have to educate yourself. So whatever software you use, go on YouTube, pull it up, watch the video, so that when you begin the certification process and you have to pull all of these financial documents together, you don't feel overwhelmed. It's going to make sense to you. And then in regards to financial growth, so there's a particular certifying agency that will ask you, do you have a business credit card?
How many of you all have a business credit card?
So if you don't and you're starting out, Capital One has Spark cards, right? And there are several others that you can choose one. There are even secured business credit cards. So if you're in that process, because I understand as entrepreneurs, things happen. One day your credit score could be 700, the next day not so. Now there are options, right? But we want to get you on the right path. But what we're saying has to be relevant for you. You got to be able to connect with what we're saying, and things happen in your business. So don't think that, you know what, my credit score right now is not going to get me, that business credit card. There are secure business cards that you can get with reputable companies like Citibank and so forth that can help you to begin to build that business credit. Next slide.
So let's check in. Are we feeling overwhelmed or are we feeling informed?
Yes, good.
Good. Now, so what's your name, sis? April was like this.
Overwhelmingly informed.
I just had to do posture shoot.
All right.
So one thing too, of the reason why it's so important to establish the business credit, and you're going to hear us talk about it over and over again, is because if you have established business credit, not necessarily not the same as your personal credit, then you can apply for things to help with short-term working capital.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the Now account. Has anybody heard of the Now account? All right, so write that down on your to-do list to look up the Now account. It was actually started by Laura and Stacey Abrams, who was running for governor in Atlanta. Y'all know who Stacey Abrams was?
Yeah.
So it was started probably about 4 years ago, and it was a tool or a business financing vehicle to help small businesses. And so what simply happens is if you have an established business credit, and that simply means it's not attached to your personal credit, they'll look to see if your business has been incorporated, they'll look to see if you have a business checking account, and then they'll look to see if you have some type of business credit card. Those three things: incorporation, say it with me, incorporation, business checking account, business credit card. So that's what you have to have. And then they'll look at the strength of the person that you're doing business with. So it can be a business to business, it can be business to corporation, or it can be business to government. Oftentimes, small businesses, we don't go after larger contracts because we cannot finance them. There'll be net 30 terms, net 60, net 90 days, right?
Net 120.
Have any of you guys ever not bid on a contract because you couldn't finance it? Okay, don't leave me up here by myself, people. This is a dialogue, not a monologue. Okay,
they said they're not that vulnerable.
Okay, let's try it again. Or has anybody wanted to go after a contract, but they were like, I don't know how I'm going to finance it?
Okay.
Okay, y'all still with me?
Awesome.
Okay, good. This is a financing solution that can help you. So it's called the Now account.
And I'm going to add one more to that. So in every community across the U.S., there is something called a CDFI. Now, we're from Atlanta, and in Atlanta, we have an organization called Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs. But there are organizations like that everywhere. Here's what's great about them. So remember we said, hey, we may not have a paper right now. What a CDFI will do is not just look at your credit, but they will look at your accounts receivable. They'll look at how you're driving income into the business. They'll look at your projections. And then what they do is get you ready for capital in your business. We've had several clients where they may have a brick and mortar, they're banking with one of the popular banks, but that bank won't give them a loan. They have the ability to go to a CDFI and get the financing they need to move their businesses forward. So make sure that you kind of stay in the know and you look out for things like that, because it does not always have to be traditional when it comes to getting capital infusions into your company. You have options.
And this works well even if you're subcontracting, meaning that you're working with another business that has a contract with Coke or GSA or the government or whoever. It still works the same. As long as they're an established business and you're subcontracting, you can still submit them through the Now account. Everybody, let's say Now account.
Yeah.
Now account. I want my money. Now.
Right now.
See, that's why it's called Now account. All right, so key number, see, you were moving too fast. I'm sorry, I tricked you. Key number 4 is you want to institute a procurement strategy. Okay, so one thing that we want to talk to you about procurement is the way that businesses and corporations and governments procure has shifted. It used to be years ago that corporations wanted the lowest price provider. Do you all remember that? So it was whoever had the lowest price, that was who was going to get awarded the contract, right? No, now corporations and government, they've gotten greedy. Okay? They want you to be the lowest price. They want you to offer the highest value. They want you to be the fastest, and they want you to be able to adjust rapidly to change. Right? So let me hear you say value, speed, agility, price. One more time to make sure that y'all are awake. Value, speed, agility, and price. So if you guys want to compete with the big boys, it's no longer where you can just go in and say, hey, I'm the lowest price. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be the lowest price, because as a small business, you're going to have higher overhead. Your supplies are going to cost more. And so you're not going to be able to compete just on price, right? Or you may be the most innovative one, where you have the solution that is going to just knock their socks off, but if you're still priced too high, then it's not going to work either. So you have to have a combination. We have an example of one of the suppliers that was in the program with Delta. They had probably the most innovative solution when it came to blankets, recyclable, et cetera. Their price was a little bit higher, and so even though they were offering much value, they had to come back and they had to change their pricing, and they also had to deliver quicker to market. So you see, it has to be a combination of all of them.
All right, next slide.
Okay. All right, and so with the procurement process, there are 3 kind of stages of how we look at it. Number 1 is you have to evaluate the bid. All money is not good money, right? So if there's a bid and you're gonna lose money on the bid, should you go for that or not go for that? So you should at least break even if you're trying to say what we like to call is I'm going to land and slide. That simply means I'm going to land on this contract and then I'm going to slide on to expand to get some more. But you still want to make sure that you're not losing money. So you've got to evaluate the bid. Number 2, you have to know the RFX landscape. So RFI is a request for information that simply we're looking at. A company will say, I'm looking to do a bid. I'm going to put information out here. I need you guys to research and give me information on it. Request for quote simply means I know what I want. I'm going to choose based on price, so give me a quote. RFP is a request for proposal. That simply means that now you've got to go and provide a full proposal. And a single source bid simply means I know who I'm going to use. I'm going to submit the contract to them, and they're going to be awarded. So in the contract phase, you have a pre-contract phase, you have an active contract phase, and then you have a contract closeout phase.
Next slide. All right, value proposition. Next. Here's the thing. Your customers are both the judge and the jury on everything that you do. And they are not merciful at all when it comes to picking the supplier that they want. What I want you to know is this: when you get into the RFP process, and let's say you do win that contract, I want you to go from being a supplier to being a strategic partner. You need that company to trust that you're gonna bring the right solution, that you're gonna be innovative, that when they have an idea, you're the person that they should call. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have to compete, we don't wanna compete. Next slide. So two examples real quick. I'm gonna go straight to Uber. So we thought taxi cabs, that was it. Called taxi, it's over. Uber came in, disrupted the market. Why? Because they provided a value in two ways. You could get on your phone, get a ride, but not only that, they could provide jobs. So they brought jobs into the community, even though they were a huge disruptor and still are. Same thing with Stripe. We had PayPal, then Stripe came on the scene. What I want you to know is this: you don't have to be so out of the box that nobody can relate to what you do. Remember, business, there are still a lot of traditional ways that we can do business that we can now be innovative with. So what you have to think is this: where there is challenge, there is opportunity.
Yes.
Throughout your day, as you do things, look for ways to make things better. Next slide. So when you're creating the value proposition, be clear about what products and services you're offering to help the potential customer or client. Make sure that you are specifically talking to them. How do we do that? How do we do that? By getting our demographics together. And here's the thing about anything that you sell or pitch: there's a psychology behind it. So that means that you have to know your customer really well, because here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna tell them what they need, why they need it. They're gonna hire you or get you to respond to their RFP and get the contract so that you can deliver the services. The other thing is the benefit. What do you offer your customer that helps them achieve their goal? At the end of the day, they just wanna know that you can come in and do the job. Not only that, what is making you different? Don't get into the Me Too movement of, I saw this person with a business, if they can do it, I can do it. Stick to your vision, because you're uniquely qualified to do that. And you're going to bring something special to that customer that the other company cannot do. Find your own sweet spot and deliver on that. Next slide.
Okay, we're getting a flashing for Q&A, so if you have questions, we want you to walk to the microphone while we do a recap. Don't be shy, all questions are a good question. So today we talked about learning the certifying agencies. Hope you took a slide to go research them, establishing strong documents, getting your financial books in order, instituting a procurement strategy, and transforming your value proposition. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I guess I'll speak. Hi, I'm Isaiah, and thank you so much for the presentation. It was very informative. I was curious if you all have ran into DUNS as a credit rating system for small businesses, and your thoughts on the value of it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dun & Bradstreet as a
Were you
credit.
not listening
Were you not
to the
here?
session?
I know, I might miss that. I missed that. So
Okay,
I'm just curious if you could speak
Yes,
to
we're
that again.
familiar with
for
it.
me.
We just talked about the importance of getting the DUNS
was
number.
Isaiah?
Here's the thing.
So I'm curious because I've ran into it. Oh, thank you. I've ran into DUNS everywhere,
Okay.
and I wasn't familiar with it when I first started my business. And then the startup cost to get into it, I mean, it roughly came to around $3 or $4K. And making the investment was kind of
So it's
talking
free.
about for DUNS?
You talk about for the DUNS. So you don't
Yeah.
have to get those additional services.
so those aren't worth it.
Yeah,
No.
you don't have to do that. You just want to get your DUNS number so that when you go and you start to get these contracts, they can tie those contracts to your company and you can begin to build your business credit. You don't have to have those additional services.
Okay,
So when
that's
they get
super
ready
helpful.
to transfer you to customer service, you can tell them, no, thank you. I just needed to set up my account and verify my information.
Yeah.
But you have to have the Dun & Bradstreet number if you're looking to get certified and to grow your business.
Okay, excellent. Thank you
Come
so
on
much.
up here, Isaiah. Come on up here. Come on up here, Isaiah. As Isaiah, we have
She
a
good.
little gift for you. Felicia, you want to tell them about your book? Okay.
So I'm going to give you Converting Emails to Sales the Easy Way. This is not a book you're going to cuddle up with, but it is a book that will monetize your database and keep you in front of your customers.
Excellent.
All right.
And you get a copy. I want you to cuddle up with mine, though. Yes, you get $2. You get $2. Yes, yes, yes. It's called the CEO Life, a holistic blueprint to scale your business and life. And everything that we discussed today is in the chapter on procurement.
All right, you're winning.
Including
Dun & Bradstreet. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Precious Price. First of all,
Precious.
hi.
Hi there.
I love your energy.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
First of all, thank you so much for the session. This was absolutely like crazy helpful, overwhelmingly informative.
Yeah.
To use your word, y'all gonna trademark that? Is that your word?
Overwhelmingly informative. But I wanted to ask a question regarding so all of these certifications, right? When you initially started, you asked who was an aspiring business owner, who was current business owner, who was in business for more than 3 years. For those that are maybe aspiring entrepreneurs or like they just started, when is a good time to actually get your business certified? So should you do that like immediately? You got your website done, you got LLC, and then you go up and you actually get that certification now? Or are you waiting until, for instance, you file your first taxes and do all of that, like a year or two out? How often should, how soon should you be doing that?
So it depends on when you're going to work the certification. So you don't want to just get certified and not do anything with it. So you can actually get certified if you have your personal tax returns and that you're going to work it and you're going to build a past history. A lot of times when companies are awarding contracts, they want to see that you have past performance and you have past history. So one of the benefits of getting certified is so now you can go and work with another business that has a contract and be a subcontractor under them to be able to start building your business. So one of the benefits of certifications is corporations and government agencies can check off that they are doing business with certified companies. And if you're working with another company, it's just called a tier 1. And tier 1 is the same thing as subcontractor. So whenever you're going to really, really work it, then that's when you want to do it.
And usually they want you to be in business at least 2 years.
They do. They do.
Depending on the agency. Yes.
Okay.
So, but not for the certification. It's two different things. So you can certify even if you're a startup, but if you're actually going to a government agency or something like that to get business, then they want you to have 2 years.
That's right.
Come on down here, Precious. Come on, get your book, girl. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Come on, girl. All right, come on.
Welcome. Here you go. All right,
next
question.
Boy,
Over
when
here.
you start giving away free product, people get up. But I'm not going to call y'all out. I'm
Yes,
not going to
sir.
call you out.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Jay Veal. I'm based in Dallas. I'm the CEO of Inc. Tutoring. We service students from 5 years old to PhD level in STEM subjects, test preps, English reading, writing, and foreign languages. So my question is,
Get your branding in there. Go ahead.
so my question is, we have looked into doing RFPs for the education space. I was a little bit late to the party, so I'm not sure if you covered ed. But in the education space, what I found is it's a lot harder to go in and get contracts through RFPs. One, because when you find out about the RFP, the timeline is about 2 weeks to get it done. And as entrepreneurs, we're really busy, right? So we may not get to that deadline. Two, running through the red tape of the school districts is super thick. So what we found out is it's better to go either direct to campus and talk to those administrators to get those particular ways to get funding on the campus level, or go direct to the parents. And by doing that, we've in a short period of time we've had about $300,000 that we've been able to get in services, but that's without contracts. So how do we cross that red tape barrier?
You know what? You actually answered your own question. Okay. Because of course, RFPs are normally already written for a company. They've already either issued an RFI, gathered the information, and they probably wrote that RFP around a company that they knew they wanted to do the business with. What you've got to do, and what we lack sometimes in, is building relationships. So where those people are, the decision makers, the people who have the influence for your business, you got to show up. And sometimes it's just showing up and serving, because even though we want to go after the RFPs and we submit the information, sometimes we get lost in the process of doing that, even though it's a necessary evil, good, whatever. The thing is, people have to get to know, like, and trust you and your business. And a lot of times we try to hide behind the business, but you are the business. And so those people, those decision makers, they're gonna have to connect with you. You're gonna have to show them the value so that they can begin to write those contracts, those RFPs and RFIs around you.
And then just to be honest, with a lot of RFPs, and we've done quite a bit in the education space, companies and government agencies, they're projecting out 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead of time on what they're going to need. And so like Felicia says, they've already kind of vetted who they are. So one good thing is do exactly what you're doing, but also a lot of people don't want to go the subcontracting route. But if you go through doing the subcontracting right, you're able to get in the door, meet the right key decision makers, let them know, like, and trust, and establish your own relationship with them.
Can I ask you a question? Do you kind of see the same companies getting the contracts in your area?
I see a couple of those individuals, yes, and most of them are going to be non-minority. But nobody
Of course
that
they
does
are.
the same
So
thing that we do.
here's what I would tell you. When those RFPs come out and you see that happening, one of the things that you could lobby for is that there is a minority participation within those contracts, and then you can go to those larger companies and do a joint venture or a strategic partnership with them so that when they win that contract, you know that you're going to get that business. So, I mean, it's a process, and we'll be right across the hall if you want to talk about that more, but maybe even going in and looking at that situation differently as to, yes, you're the large company, and you're the one that's always win the contract, but here's how I can help you.
I got you.
And then don't get discouraged. A lot of times people, they go through submitting an RFP and not getting the bid. Don't get discouraged. Use it as a learning tool. If you submit an RFP and you do not get it, call the contracting officer and request a debrief, which simply means, can you tell me what areas I can improve on, what areas did I miss it, what can I do better the next time? And then you use the information from the debrief, and then you just create a stronger RFP. So it may take you 3, 4, 5 times to win it, and you have to make sure that when you're submitting RFPs, you have a likelihood of winning. If there's an incumbent that's been doing the job for 10 years, they have great ratings and great, reviews, it's probably highly unlikely that they're going to be having another vendor. So you want to make sure that you just do your research.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on down. Come on.
Yeah. Next
Come on,
question.
get your book. Come on.
Hi, my name is Lolita Martin. My company's
Yes.
Automated Security, and we install security, fire alarm, and camera systems.
question.
What I would like you to share a little bit on is being a sub to a sub. I have found in my contracting, going through all of that I started off being a sub to a sub, and if you would just elaborate on that a little bit more.
So let me ask you this. In you being a sub to the sub, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, first of all, you have to really be proactive of getting your name out there, your company information out there. You have to show up and show out, so to speak, so that they can see that you're performing well, and then they're looking at, well, who is this? So it was good for me because we went in, we did a great job, but it took a while. It took us about 2 years for us to move into the subcontractor up under this, from being a sub to being a subcontractor.
So one of the best things that you can do when you're in that position is tell your story. So you have to layer yourself. Now, when you got into this relationship, did you all do a memorandum of understanding?
No, we did not.
Okay.
We did not initially do that.
So I always suggest that in any partnerships, no matter how far you might be down as far as being a sub to a sub, get a memorandum of understanding, because that's the opportunity, one, for both of you to be clear on the scope of work and what you're providing. Second, if you know that you want to get your name out there, that's the opportunity for you to ask them, hey, if they got a screen up, hey, can I get my logo on there? But also, telling the story. So LinkedIn, right? Get on there. Hey, we're so excited. We just won, a sub opportunity with XYZ. We're performing these services. We do not tell our story.
Yes. Thank you.
Don't get lost in that shuffle.
All right, we have been cut off because our time is over, but Felicia and I will be right across the hall in the speaker's room, so we'd like to come meet and greet you. And also, you guys come to get a copy of Felicia's Converting Emails and the CEO Life. Did y'all have fun? Did y'all learn?
Awesome.
Are y'all gonna come see us tomorrow
Tomorrow.
when we teach closing the sale, how to win big contracts?
Yes. And
Let's
tell
try
a
that one more
friend.
time. Are y'all gonna come see us tomorrow at 3:30? me.
Yes, all right.
Stand up and give yourselves a round of applause.
Woo! All right. Awesome.
High